Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Wednesday evening, May 29, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We like the video and the YouTube algorithm pushes it out to more weather lovers and rain lovers just like you guys. And we really want to build this weather community as we head into the peak months of the hurricane season so that we can keep everyone safe. Share this video with your friends, your relatives, and your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather has been like here recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at this tweet from Andy Hazelton. He's actually a scientist at the NOAA, that's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Basically the same as the National Hurricane Center. If you can remember, he made a tweet last week regarding the system that was being shown on the supercomputer model, that's the GFS, across the southwestern Caribbean. And he actually made a post update today highlighting the fact that the GFS might be backing off of what it was forecasting last week. So it states here, with convection waning, so waning we know basically is stating that the thunderstorms are starting to die down, and showing little organization in the southwestern Caribbean today, it looks like the verdict is that the GFS was too aggressive with development here, which is not surprising. It's a very common model bias in this era. Likely have to wait a bit for the first TC, and we know that refers to tropical cyclone. So he's referring to this map right here, the infrared satellite images, or the satellite image that was showing the southwestern Caribbean. The huge blob that we saw yesterday actually died down, and he's highlighting the fact that yes, the GFS was a bit too aggressive with it and forecasting some amount of development. If we remember what the GFS model was showing last week, a lot of rainfall, some yellows, even an L that represents an airflow pressure, and a lot of persons on Twitter and even on YouTube were very intrigued by what the GFS was showing. But the thing is, we can't just take one model run and run with it. We have to be looking at what the other models are showing. That's why I always put both of them side by side. That's the Euro and the GFS, and we have to always stay updated with what they are showing because they always change. So if we take a look at what the Euro model is showing for the next 7 days, as a matter of fact, let me highlight the areas that we're supposed to be keeping our eye on. So the forecast hour and the date, as well as this section of the Atlantic that we're going to be looking at. So it's right here, the central to the western Caribbean. Right here we have Jamaica. So let's see exactly what unfolds as we go out in time. So we're just going to be going out to the next 168 hours, that's the next 7 days, just like what the US National Hurricane Center would show. We see that so far we have nothing out of the ordinary. We do see some greens represent rainfall in and around Jamaica, but look right there, this is about 9 on Saturday, that's about 2 a.m. no 4 a.m. on Saturday. We start to see an increase in the amount of rainfall around the island. That's according to the Euro model. Let's see if that verifies on the GFS. Moving into even Sunday, we still see some amount of greens that represent rainfall surrounding the island. Monday, a bit more robust. Let us actually see if that happened, because if you even remember last week, the models were showing more of that rainfall to be affecting section of the island around this time, wrapping up the end of the month of May, heading into early June. But now it's actually taking a shift to show more of that rainfall into early June rather than this week actually. So we see now it's starting to push all of the moisture off into early June. We'll see if these models actually verify. They've been playing a bad game with us. Look at the GFS model now. So we're going out in time. We see the greens that represent rainfall. Let's look at Saturday morning. We see that rainfall that the Euro is showing, so at least we have a little consensus there. Sunday we see the rainfall still, a lot of moisture across the greater Antilles including Jamaica. Look at even these yellows and oranges. We'll see if that actually verifies. We know how bullish the GFS can get. Then by apparently the end of the day on Tuesday, all of that should be out of here according to the GFS. Euro wasn't in a hurry to get all of the rainfall out of here at all. We'll see exactly what unfolds. We actually see some differences in what happens by the end of the 168 hours. Euro still has most of the moisture across portions of the Greater Antilles, including Jamaica. By Wednesday, the GFS by Wednesday showing that most of the moisture should be up towards the northeast of the Caribbean. We'll see exactly what unfolds with that. Either way, both supercomputer models are in consensus that by Wednesday, June 5, this should be the amount of rainfall that's expected across portions of the Caribbean. We see all of those blues, those purples, even getting into some burgundy colors, maybe even close to at least 6 inches of rainfall. That's according to the Euro model. What does the GFS show for the same time period? Yes, we see the moisture, most of it confined towards the east of Jamaica, even getting into some yellows in there that could represent up to what, maybe 10, 12, 14 inches of rainfall. But most of that seems to be across Hispaniola. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Clearly we have some disagreement, but at the same time we have some agreement in some spots. So we have to take these forecast models with a grain of salt, especially considering what I stated earlier, the fact that these models were showing all of this rainfall last week for this week, and this week is not so robust at all. It's actually showing more of that rainfall now into next week, into early June instead. So we'll see exactly what unfolds, and I'll definitely be here to keep you all updated. Alright, so let us take a look at what the US Climate Prediction Center is showing on their 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. And we're going to be keeping our attention right here across the Caribbean, right where we have Jamaica. And we do see that for June 5 to June 11, they're highlighting that we're going to be receiving some amount of above normal rainfall. We know the above normal rainfall is represented by the lighter shades of greens, and we also have some darker shades of greens in there as well that we know represents up to maybe even 50% probability or 65% probability of above normal rainfall across our area. And then by about June 12 to June 18, we see something different. We don't see the above normal rainfall at all, but we start to see some reds and some whites across the Western Caribbean into the southern Gulf of Mexico. And we know all of that is representative of a 20% chance of TC formation probability. That's about tropical cyclone, who knows, maybe tropical depression, tropical storm. We'll see exactly what unfolds with that, but that could be in line with what we were showing regarding the upward motion that Ben Noel was showing on his Twitter page a couple days ago. So we'll see if that actually verifies into mid-June, and I'll be here to keep you posted if that happens. Alright, so let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. There has been a lot of talk about the fact that we're entering into tropical wave train territory. We can see right here a tropical wave across the Western Caribbean, a tropical wave about to affect the Southeastern Caribbean, another tropical wave right here across the Southern Main Development Region, and one just emerging off of Africa. So it's safe to say that the tropical wave train is definitely here, all of them pushing westward. And we know as soon as we head deeper into the months of the hurricane season, most of these tropical waves are going to be lifting a bit northward, and then, you know, be in line some more with the Caribbean, bringing more into rainfall, especially to the Leeward Islands, Hispaniola, Jamaica. Right now, most of them are very much squashed to the south and attached to the intertropical convergence zone, where all of the air from the northern hemisphere meets the air from the southern hemisphere, and then we have all of that rising air causing thunderstorms across that line. And we can see all of that even better on the visible satellite images. The ITCZ right here, and the tropical waves right here attached to that, attached to it. One tropical wave right here off the coast of Africa, the tropical wave that should have brought that rainfall yesterday into today, already passed the island. Some areas definitely got rainfall, but not all, not the areas that we really wanted to get that rainfall across Jamaica. And that's all courtesy of the very strong upper level winds that we can see pushing all of the high cold cloud tops up towards the north and east. We know the wind shear definitely, a factor when it comes to these systems, always tearing off the tops of thunderstorms, preventing them from forming. And with the wind shear pushing up towards the north and east, it favored more of the rainfall across section of northern Jamaica than anything else. Alright, so we'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Wednesday, May 29. It was stated in yesterday's video, if you remember that video, that we would have received some morning rainfall across sections of some eastern parishes in Jamaica. We know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, so Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, so St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, so Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. Keep in mind that yes, yesterday's video was forecasting afternoon rainfall for sections of some central and western parishes in Jamaica. So morning rainfall in the east, afternoon rainfall across central and western Jamaica. And what ended up happening? As early as 5:04 a.m., the Guantanamo Bay Cuban Doppler radar imagery was posted, and it highlighted the fact that we were receiving some amount of rainfall across sections of the east. So sections of Portland and St. Thomas, maybe especially eastern St. Thomas, picked up on some amount of morning rainfall, early morning rainfall that is, just as predicted in the forecast yesterday. And keep in mind that we had to use the Guantanamo Bay radar because the other Cuban Doppler radar that we normally use was having a glitch at the time. I have no problem with using this. It's actually accurate. I just wish it covered more of a wider area across the Greater Antilles. It's only showing more so the northeastern half of the island, but I'll take it. Hopefully the Jamaican Doppler radar gets fixed soon. Anyways, during the afternoon, the infrared satellite images were also posted. They were posted on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, and they were posted on our Instagram at Weather.Jamaica, or our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss, posts that we don't even make here on our YouTube platform. So we can definitely see that we indeed had some isolated afternoon thunder showers across central parishes, where we see those sparkling white dots. That's where we know that it was definitely raining or thundering. So section of northern St. Catherine, northern Clarendon, pushing westward into section of northern Manchester, northern St. Elizabeth. While we definitely had a huge burst of convection right there across sections of St. James and Trelawney, and all of this was pushing westward. So we got it at around 1:05 p.m. But later on, we actually saw that these thunderstorms were being blown off in terms of the upper level wind shear to the northeast. So that's what I always talk about. Whichever direction the upper level wind shear is going, that's where we're going to be having most of the rainfall, whichever side of the island. So the upper level wind shear is pushing all of these high cold cloud tops associated with the cumulonimbus clouds off towards the northeast. So more than likely, whichever way the wind shear is going is going to be favoring more of the rainfall across northern Jamaica, just like what we stated. And we definitely saw that most of these thunderstorms pushed off towards the west. So definitely section of Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James picked up the most in the way of some thunderstorm and rainfall this afternoon. And we saw what happened on the visible satellite images. It was a cloudy day for the most part across the island, but we saw that we had more of those thunderstorm clouds across the north west. And we have confirmation from some of our followers on our Instagram page. We have Sexiana stating heavy rain, breeze and thunder in Sandy Bay, Hanover. My girl _ lollipop stating right now West I get some serious rain. Then we have K Alex stating thunder rolling, no rain yet. Got some thunderstorm in Hanover, now the place cool. Overcast in Clarendon for one Chris Ann. So yes, that indeed confirms the rainfall. And even if we take a look back at See Jamaica's YouTube channel from this afternoon, we saw that yes, it was mostly cloudy across the Kingston Harbour, Bleaky for the most part in those areas more than anything else. So we didn't get much in the way of rainfall. And you can also see live streams of the Kingston Harbour, the corporate area, on See Jamaica's YouTube channel. If you don't know by now, we have a partnership with that channel. That's why we are always here highlighting what it's showing. So not much in the way of rainfall across the corporate area at all. Most of that rainfall was confined to the northwest. And if we take a look at the latest infrared satellite images, we can see that most of the high cold cloud tops associated with those cumulonimbus clouds are now gone. Only some left back high level clouds across the island for the most part, and some of these clouds are definitely bringing some in the way of some isolated showers across the island. We can see it all even better on the latest Cuban Doppler radar images. We can see the blues and the lighter shades of greens that we know represent some amount of light to slightly moderate rainfall in some spots. So there could be some rainfall lingering across sections of the island as we speak. At this time, what time is it? It is 8:08 p.m. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Thursday, temperature should dip down to about 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on Thursday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Thursday. And we see Jamaica right here embedded in some yellows and some slight orange colors that represent anywhere from 1 to up to even 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of May across Jamaica are about 89 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 89 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 31 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31 to at least 34 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Thursday. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Thursday, we do see a lot of brown colors stretching all the way from Africa into the Caribbean associated with the Saharan dust. But what we see is that we have the most vigorous plume of dust across the main development region where we have those darker shades of browns. That's what we don't want to see across Jamaica, Jamaica being right here, because we know all of this is pushing westward and all of this contains a lot of hazy weather, maybe causing some respiratory illnesses in some people. Hopefully by the time it gets into the Caribbean, including Jamaica, most of it has dissipated, like how it looks right now across the Caribbean. More so, we have those lighter shades of brown than darker shades of browns and anything else. But if you look closely, you'll definitely see that there's some amount of hazy skies plaguing the island. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are still in consensus that we're going to be receiving those lighter shades of blues on the northern portion of the island, that we can see by the key on the bottom right that represents 0.5 for meter wave heights, while the darker shades of blue should be affecting the eastern and southern portion of the island that we know from the key on the bottom right that represents anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights. And that's because the winds are going to be strongest on the south coast, where we see those brighter shades of greens that represent anywhere from 15 to 20 knots, while we have more of a mixture of those blues and greens that represent anywhere from 5 to 10 knots on the north coast. But as you can see, the general direction on both sides of the island, the wind should be coming in from the east. And not only that, we see that the air should be piling up across inland areas of some central and western parishes. So we can rule out some isolated afternoon rainfall again across sections of some central and western parishes. So we might have those cumulus clouds building again to some medium level rain clouds, and if they make it up into cumulonimbus status in the upper levels of the atmosphere, we still have that upper level wind shear coming in from the southwest, and it's not going anywhere at all. Let's say that we're going to be receiving this upper level wind shear from the southwest for the rest of May into mid-June. So northern Jamaica is definitely going to be receiving more so in the way of rainfall than anywhere else, if not overcast skies. especially with those high cold clouds being blown off into that direction. And the rainfall forecasts are actually showing that we're gonna be receiving some amount of rainfall. This one from the Euro and this one from the GFS a bit different. We have some disagreement, but we have some consensus with where the rainfall is expected. This is 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Euro and on the GFS, and we know that represents 12 p.m. Jamaica time. And where do we see the blues that represent rainfall? Across sections of some eastern parishes in Jamaica, some sections of maybe St. Thomas, Portland, Kingston, St. Andrew, sections of St. Mary getting in on the action. Euro a bit more robust, showing those same areas getting in on that rainfall, but incorporating sections of central and western parishes. The Euro usually does this. We'll see exactly what unfolds with that. But going out in time, we see that the consensus is actually, coming together. 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. Has the blues that represent rainfall starting to affect sections of some central and western parishes on the Euro. Something similar on the GFS. So there's definitely going to be some amount of rainfall affecting sections of the island tomorrow. We see both the Euro and the GFS accumulated precipitation forecast maps that are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Thursday, both showing that somewhere in Jamaica is going to be picking up some amount of rainfall tomorrow. Euro a bit more robust than the GFS as usual. Euro showing up to 0.67 of an inch of rainfall across portion of the island. GFS showing up to at least 0.24 of an inch of rainfall. We'll accept it. We're in the month of May. We should be receiving a lot of rainfall, up to 213.05 millimeters of rainfall. That's 9 inches of rainfall, or almost 9 inches of rainfall. But we haven't been getting that rainfall at all. More of that rainfall has been confined to northern Jamaica than anything else. Hopefully, June brings some amount of rainfall. As a matter of fact, I have some bar graphs that are showing that June is usually wetter than May. So we'll see if there's actually a flip going on, even although the records from 1996 to 2015 show that May usually picked up more in the way of rainfall than June. I'm gonna find these maps and show you as we head into the month of June. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have a tropical wave right now coming into section of the Windward Islands. So section of Trinidad and Tobago already picking up on that rainfall associated with the tropical wave. Section of Venezuela, Grenada getting in on the action as well. Not to mention section of Barbados and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We can see that sections of the northern portion of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico definitely gotten on some amount of rainfall today, just as predicted. Even section of Cuba gotten on some amount of afternoon rainfall. And we can also see the tropical wave doing a number on the area right there across Central America, Eastern Nicaragua, Honduras. I'm pretty sure that they're all grateful for the rainfall, especially considering the drought that sections of Central America have been experiencing. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, if these images will load for me, doesn't seem like they want to load at all. Alright, here they go. So we're going to be looking at where across the northeastern Caribbean got rainfall today. And we're going to be running these images from about, let's see, 2:20 p.m. And we saw the rainfall. We see the same pattern that we've been experiencing for the past 2 weeks. Rainfall across the northeastern portion of the Dominican Republic with that upper level wind shear from the southwest. Some hit or miss isolated showers here and there across the Leeward Islands. If we even take a look at the latest image, if it will actually load, we can see that we definitely had some amount of isolated showers across section of Puerto Rico today. If we take a look at the Barbados radar, we can see that yes, we have some amount of rainfall coming into section of Barbados from the east associated with that tropical wave. We can see that line of rainfall to the north of Barbados heading into section of Martinique, section of St. Lucia already getting in on that rainfall, not to mention section of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, section of Trinidad and Tobago definitely getting in on that rainfall as we speak, with more to come tonight into tomorrow. Taking a look at the weather view of Doppler radar images, we can see that afternoon rainfall across section of the southern portion of Florida, sections of Cuba definitely picked up on some amount of rainfall, not to mention section of Honduras, sections of Colombia as well. If we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we see what we've been seeing all month long, above normal temperatures plaguing the entire Atlantic basin, including the Caribbean. But look at all of these blues across sections of the central and eastern United States. They're definitely going to be getting on that below normal temperature tomorrow, while the Caribbean should be getting on those above normal temperatures, as we can see by the key on the right. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on a Thursday, we can see the browns represent the Saharan dust that should be plaguing the entire Caribbean basin. We see the lighter shades of browns across the central and western Caribbean, but the darker shades of browns across the eastern Caribbean. So they're definitely going to be getting on those very hazy skies. Not to mention, some respiratory illnesses being triggered in some persons. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we still see a mixture across the Caribbean of those lighter shades of blues, especially across the northwestern Caribbean, that represent anywhere from 0.5 meter wave heights to 1 meter wave heights. I have those darker shades of blues represented by those blues, those even purples right there off to the south of Jamaica, that represent anywhere from 1.5 to even up to 2 meter wave heights. And that's because the winds are going to be averaging anywhere from 15 to 20 knots, as we see by these green colors. The bluish colors, we know that represents anywhere from 5 to 10 knots. And we can see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus that the general direction for the winds are going to be coming in from the east. Taking a look at the rainfall forecast maps now. This is why we're here. We want to see exactly where it's going to be raining within the next 24 hours. And we can actually see the consensus with where the rain is expected. So some rainfall definitely expected within the next 24 hours for sections of Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, sections of the Windward Islands associated with the tropical wave, not to mention section of Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, especially Nicaragua right there with the tropical wave that's affecting them right now. Honduras getting in on the action, section of Belize, not to mention section of Guatemala and El Salvador. I know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.